Welcome, 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 welcome to How to Communicate Powerfully. My name is Kayleen, and I'm joined today by Evelyn Chow. How are you doing, Evelyn?
Just great. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you. So today is all about communicating powerfully. And we've all had problems from that time to time. But before I get into it, first of all, if you stay to the end, we have a very, very special gift for you. So yes, you're going to want to stay to the end, I promise. A bit about who we are. My name is Kayleen. I'm a business coach here in Toronto. And I love to help people break through their barriers and take their business to the next level. But today is not about me. Today is all about Evelyn Chow. She is an expert communications expert. She has worked with great many people, and she has a lot to offer you. Okay. She has worked with athletes, and I'm going to go into that a bit more with her in a moment. But she's created techniques that will help you out from anywhere from the boardroom to the stage, from getting the next promotion to living a more fulfilled life, because communication is key with everything. So I would like to say welcome, Evelyn.
Thank you so much, Kay. Yes, thank you so much for calling me expert 3 times. You're making my head swell. But I just want to tell you why I made that jump from coaching high-performance athletes to high-performance individuals. It started when I coached athletes to use the minds to rehearse. I did mental rehearsals for them. And it really delivered results. I had helped people who were stuck in second place. For example, there was this female athlete who was constantly bringing home the silver. And it was all because she had a little bit of anxiety. She was great when she was rehearsing and training, but when she was actually in the spotlight, she froze. And she started criticizing herself very harshly, and I helped her overcome that. And guess what? She brought home the championship after 2 sessions. I realized that performance is performance. And so it doesn't matter what field you're in, whether you're in the corporate world or you're doing high jumps or the marathon. It's all performance. And it all has to do with the mind, because our subconscious mind drives our actions and behavior. So yeah, so that's how it brought me here, and I'm awfully happy to be here.
So were you always just this great at communicating? Was it something you had to learn as well?
It's definitely something that I had to learn, and it can be a very rewarding process, because where I came from, I was very respectful. I was overly respectful of other people. So for example, if I see a bunch of people talking amongst themselves, I would stand by the side to wait till they allow me in. And in North America, that is not the practice. We just don't do that. We just smile and walk right in and say, hi, how are you? And just join the conversation. So I have to say that I lost a little bit of time, waiting and, learning all these cultural practices. But now that I've learned it, I know that you are in control of how you present yourself. It's totally within your control. And even people who are considered introverts, mind you, I'm an introvert and I'm very proud of it. People who are introverts tend to listen first and then they join in. But you can also acquire extrovert qualities for the occasion. So if you
if I'm an introvert, so let's go into that. How would I get those qualities? How do I embrace my inner extrovert if I'm an introvert?
If you're an introvert,
Yeah.
what you do is, what I do with my clients is to use breath work. So breathing is very, very powerful. It can calm you down, even if you're just about to step in front of 1,000 people. Can calm you down and also bring out the best in you because you have breath support. I also want to mention that one of my vocal teachers taught me this really great technique of taking a deep breath into the core and then releasing it very slowly to the count of 18.
Okay, so let's do it.
Now you might say,
let's do it.
Yes, do it. Okay. I would invite all of you to sit up. Your back has to be relatively straight. And I'd like you to take a deep breath with me and Kay. We take a deep breath into the core, also known as belly. So easy breath in. And hold it. Excellent. And then let it out very slowly and calmly. And I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it's a long out breath, and I'll tell you why. The brain gets a signal from you when you exhale in a very slow and calm way, and it will calm your whole body down. When your body is calm, your mind is calm, or the reverse. If your mind is calm, then your body follows suit. So the trick, just one more breath.
Let's do it together one more time because now I know how long I've got to hold it. That was a long breath. So we're going to go into 18 and then exhale to 18. Is that how it works?
That's it.
All right, so let's do this.
An easy deep breath into the core, no effort. And then out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Are you there?
Perfect.
Are you
I'm
okay?
There. I'm there.
Okay, wonderful. So the out breath, yes, when you take that long to exhale, it calms you down. And if you want to exhale through the mouth, fine. Or the nose, which is just as good. So how do you feel?
I feel very calm. It's amazing. 18 felt long because I'm out of practice, but I could really see how that could work to just calm the jitters right down.
That's wonderful. And I'm glad we started with this because everybody probably had, a long work day at the office and had a lot in their minds. So good. Let's go.
Exactly. So earlier you were talking about, and I kind of just want to jump back there for a moment. Sometimes culturally, we misread signs because culturally, like you were saying, when you moved here, everybody kind of just shoves their way into a conversation, which isn't always, in other cultures, that would be considered kind of rude, to be honest. Are there any other things like, I heard about looking into eyes. Is that something else we need to be aware of?
Yes, eye contact is great for establishing rapport, as you know, but in some countries, I know in your area of the world as well, right? You mentioned that in the Korean islands, as well as South Asians, they prefer that you make eye contact by looking at maybe the forehead or the top of the head. Instead of looking into people's eyes for a long, long time, you still have to look into people's eyes to make sure that you know that you're speaking, you're directing your conversation to them. But looking at the forehead is a very good alternative towards cultures who may not think that this is a prolonged eye contact may not be the best.
Okay. So let's talk about communication skills overall. Some people feel, I've seen studies, you're so smart, you've gone to school, you've got your degrees, you might have taken a job that didn't require speaking, like engineering or IT, and now it's coming back into the fold. So I want to ask you, for those of us that you're so educated and you're so smart, but then you're being held back due to lack of communication skills. Have you seen that before? Is that something that we should be addressing?
Yes, I actually have. Recently, there was a young woman who told me that because of her cultural background, she was perceived by her boss as timid. And her boss, who was female, actually verbally abused her. So
Wow.
yes, it was not a good situation to be in. So she asked me for coaching. And similarly, there are a lot of other cases where people are ignored at meetings or shouted down because the person might be, might speak in a moderate tone and there's someone louder, and so they get all the attention. So ideas are made to be debated and discussed and not buried in emails or memos. So I basically stress to these clients of mine that they have to acquire the communication skills so that they can assert themselves verbally at meetings.
Okay, talking about asserting yourself. Now, are there some words that are more authoritative than others? Because it's hard, like as a female or certain cultures, we're not always the most assertive, but is there some like authoritative language we should be using?
Yes, definitely. There are some ways that you could assert or be more authoritative than other people. I would say that phrases like according to analysis, because when you start off saying according to analysis, you come across as somebody who has done the research. So when you say according to analysis, this thing is happening in Asia, but not in South Africa, for example, people will sit up and listen. Or when you use stronger language, strong words like just one moment. Strong words like one could argue that, that sounds pretty good, and I am confident this is a promising way forward, or in my view is very good because you are allowing other people's views as well. So it's very democratic, right? And
Yeah.
so, but first of all, we also have to be mindful of the things that we say that devalue our opinion or take away our authority, and replace those with the stronger, more authoritative terms.
Okay, so
For example,
yeah.
yes, some people start off a phrase by saying, I'm sure many of you might disagree, but, and when you start off like this, people would be quite ready, they're quite ready to disagree with you if they have other ideas. So you don't have to invite them to disagree with you. And people might say, I'm not really an expert on this, but now when you start saying, I'm not really an expert, people would automatically tune out because you have weakened what you're going to say next. So those are some of the things to be mindful about.
Wow. Okay. Those are some very, very good good ways of doing it. Now, let's say we have to do some public speaking at work or at a wedding or just in general. Okay, so you've given me some words that I can use authority for, but I've done the deep breathing, but I'm still very, very full of stage fright. Is there another way that I could either, do I embrace the fear? Do I just let it go? What about stage fright?
That's actually something that affects a lot of people in the population. I would say that when you know that you have an event coming up in the evening, you might start by planning your day accordingly. You want to wake up feeling upbeat, right? So what you might do is have some strong encouragements, or people say affirmations on sticky notes, so that you are constantly reminded that you are the expert that people come to listen to, And so start of the day, or plan a lunch with someone who is a supporter, a true friend, or even those people who have who mentor young people. You might want to have lunch with someone who is so supportive and almost like adores you for who you are. Right now, this is like scheming a little bit, but I love it. So have lunch with someone who really believes in you, and then you might want to start off before you go off. You do your breath work and you do a visualization. And visualizations are powerful for reasons that we have just talked about, because our subconscious minds are what drives our actions and words. So you would get into a very calm state of mind. We can do this at the end of this session.
Oh.
Yes, you might want to envision yourself having all the tools in your toolbox, and they're there whenever you need it. All these powerful words, and you know your speech, and you envision yourself going in, being powerful and communicative and expressive, and then see the audience agreeing with you. So that's the kind of thing you can do beforehand.
Okay, so just to run over all of those, because you just gave me a bounty full of tips. So I start with my affirmations. I start reminding myself that I'm speaking for a reason and that I am the expert. So affirmations, and then get myself a cheerleader. Have somebody there to help calm me down and do lunch. And then even more powerful than that, we're going to go through a visualization and see myself. Do I see myself speaking to the crowd and succeeding? Like, what exactly am I doing visually in my visualizations?
You are doing a mental rehearsal, just as I would be rehearsing a high-performance athlete. They would envision themselves being very strong, right? Making all the right strokes and having great stamina, and whatever the opponent throws at them, they're able to handle. So in the same way, you want to see your audience being very appreciative of what you're about to say. But if you want to prepare for the fact that sometimes there are audience members who would raise questions and heckle you, you can also prepare for that.
Okay.
So yes, just see yourself being very comfortable. And I always say, if you don't know the answer, don't be afraid to say that. Just say, I will get back to you on that. Just have phrases ready. But of course, try to answer the questions if you can. But if you can't, there's no shame. Yes.
At the back, that's what you mean.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And of course, your presentation has to be written in such a way as to take advantage of people's attention span. For example, it's like giving them a great meal. When you start off, you want to give them a great appetizer. So your starting paragraph has to grab people's attention. So then you go into the main course, and then you give them all the tips and all the goods. And at the end, don't forget a great spellbinding dessert, because that's what people talk about on their way home. So your ending also has to be very engaging, get people talking about you.
Okay, so you said the beginning's like an appetizer. So do you mean like a joke, or?
Yes, a joke would work very well, or you can give them a startling fact, right? Something that provokes, or just like get them to think, or give them a quote from someone who is an outright authority in that field, or tell a story about yourself.
Okay, the keys to grab attention. And then the second part would be getting into the meat and potatoes.
Yes, give them substance.
Okay, how do we feel about stats and facts? Because sometimes people say that will just make people gloss over. What are your thoughts on that? Like, is there too much stats, or depends on your audience?
It all depends on your audience. if you did a rehearsal to your family members and their eyes glazed over, it does not mean that your audience, who are primarily accountants, for example, would not appreciate it. But you be the judge. When you present facts, you absolutely get attention because they're tangible. But I would say balance them with some stories, some human interest facts that would resonate with your audience. Which brings me to a different point, which I love telling people about. Research has shown that the most memorable words are those that are short, but those that evoke strong emotion, because those are the words that you would want to use. Very often speakers rely on buzzwords like beneficiaries or non-food items or sustainable development or value chains, you know, the kind, right? Because they wash over the audience without making an impact. So I would suggest you use some terms. If you feel that your audience want to relate to these terms, by all means use them, but balance them with words that create images in people's minds. Because creating images in people's minds about your products or services or offer is how you stand out.
Could you give us an example?
Yes. For example, let's say you're an insurance adjuster. Instead of saying those beneficiaries, you might want to say the people whose houses got burned down in a fire. So all of a sudden you've got the image of a house on fire. And people, and it's based in science. The reason that we should be specific is that our brain retains information best when that information is connected to one of the 5 senses. When visual sense is the easiest to activate, and when you use visual words, you actually turn on a different part of the brain than your analytical left brain. So visual words and concrete words, which are the words that we actually want to use, they stimulate the right side of the brain, which calls up images and triggers memory, and is connected to our emotional centers. And on top of that, it's also connected to our motivational centers. So you might be interested to know that we are rarely motivated or inspired by abstract terms.
What would you say is okay, so we've learned a lot of ways to get over some of our problems, but to be honest, this is just a portion of what you do. Am I correct?
Yes, it is a portion of what I do.
A tiny portion at that. So do you have any programs coming up? Like, let's say I was a professional and I love some of the words today. I've got my authority words to use and so forth, but I think I need a little bit more help. What type of services do you offer?
I offer individual coaching, one-on-one coaching, as well as corporate training. So for individuals who have one issue, for example, they have to give a wedding speech coming up, I could work with them just on this particular issue. And it can be either done over 3 weeks, or it could be done in an afternoon, 3-4 hours, that sort of thing. And if they want to go deeper, definitely I have packages that help people kind of unearth some of the triggers that they might have accumulated and unhelpful beliefs and stuff like that. So those take a little longer to work on. Okay,
but yeah, dig deeper and find out the real root of the problem. So that sounds good. That sounds good. So we're nearing a half hour here, and before we go, I just want to hammer home, because to so many people, they've done such good work out there. They're great engineers, they're great accountants, but unfortunately, they're just not moving forward due to communication skills. Do you work with a lot of professionals that are just trying to take their careers to the next level?
Yes, in fact, I find that a lot of people come to me for that reason. They have very high education. They have, high IQ, intellect, analytical abilities, but their communication skills are not on a par with their left brain skills. So we have a little bit of bringing up to do, right? Keeping the communication skills sharp, so that they can hold their own while they're negotiating or they are pitching either to their own team or to outside clients.
Okay, so as I said, we had a very special gift for anybody who stayed to the end of the call. And what is that gift, Evelyn? I'm going to let you
I would just like to offer, I just want to offer a discount for those people who want to get coaching. And so I'm taking 30% off the normal fee. And yes, but you have to get in touch with me within 48 hours. And I would actually welcome any calls for people who have questions, because this is an area that fascinates me. So please get in touch, email me with any doubts or any questions that you may have, and I would be more than happy to talk with you. Okay,
and your website is, so you could be reached at Powerful Presence. Is that correct?
Yes, so I'm at Powerful Presence at bell.net or Evelyn at powerfulpresence.ca.
Yes, I will,
okay,
follow that up.
It's cool.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. That was a chock load of goodness. And I have my authoritative words to use for this week. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody for joining us. And we hope to talk to you soon.
It's my pleasure, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good night.